talk about amplifying. Oh, glad you remembered to do that. Thank you. Um, Today, we're here to talk about amplifying your brand through AI, automation, and storytelling. If we could also get everyone if we could mute all attendees as they come in too, as well. Thank you. But we're going to talk about how to be everywhere, every day, all at once on social media, but with only just 15 minutes of work on your part, and why it's crucial for you to do that in this day and age. For those who don't know me, my name is Ethan King. I'm the founder and CEO of Zeus's Closet. I'm a past president of EO Atlanta, and I was a communications expert for US East. And we actually won the Global Award for Best External Awareness in 2020. And we were supposed to go on stage and get it in Cape Town. But then, of course, I got robbed of that joy and I got an email instead that said, congratulations. But actually, who is doing... I feel weird introducing myself. Who's doing the introduction? Who usually does these?
I think Mike is going to take care of that for us.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike, I'm going to let you take it from here before I go any further. But you guys can scan that QR code if you want to connect with me.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Ethan, for joining us today. And to give you a quick intro, today's guest is past president of EO Atlanta, co-founder of Zeus's Closet, and creator of Six Pack Dads. I could certainly use that one. He's a dynamic speaker who shares his journey from starving artist to CEO. His work has appeared on Oprah, and he has been featured on the cover of Best Self magazine. He coaches high-performance professionals around the world to achieve whole life success through not-so-obvious life hacks. Ethan King is the best-selling author of Wealth Beyond Money, Unlocking the 6 Dimensions of Success for Richness in Every Area of Your Life. He is passionate about you truly having it all. Today, he will teach practical ways to use AI and automation in your social media storytelling so you can be everywhere, every day, all at once, with as little as 15 minutes of work on your part. With all that said, please welcome Ethan King.
All right. Thank you for that warm introduction, and thank you for the invitation to be here today. I'm going to move through this really fast because we have a lot of information to cover in a short amount of time. Feel free to do screen grabs, but I'll also provide the slides to you at the end, and this is being recorded. So we're going to talk about why you should care about posting on social media every day. We're going to talk about some storytelling, science, and strategy, and then we're going to get into the actual tactics of using ChatGPT in concert with other AI applications, specifically to help you make this easy and accessible for everyone. And then we'll do some Q&A. And I'm going to have a special surprise at the end for my most engaged and interactive audience members today. I'm going to take one or two of you and we will go through a personalized strategy session where we will map out a game plan for your social media strategy in just a few minutes using these AI tools. So why should you care? Well, you get to help others by sharing on social media, sharing things that you know. I mean, if you're on this call, you've accomplished a lot in life. I know sometimes we don't feel like it. I know sometimes we get down on ourselves, but you have a lot of information that you can share that can help others. And it builds goodwill with your audience. It also makes it easier for you to sell stuff. I don't know if you guys follow the Kardashians and stuff, but they became billionaires because of they leveraged their fame. So say what you want about them, but celebrity and being everywhere helps you make more money. Reputation precedes revenue, and it reduces competitive comparison. So if people are looking at you and another company and evaluating the two, a lot of times they'll lean towards the person who's more visible, who's sharing more content, because they feel more familiarity and trust with you. And people attach to people more than they do attach to a brand name. It boosts your individual brand as well as the company and your team. So you can actually share this with your team members and your salespeople and help them boost and build their personal brands as well, because it's not going to take away from your brand. It's actually going to boost your brand. Think about the Avengers from Marvel. Each one of these heroes is a hero in their own right, and they have their own movies and stuff, but then they assemble, and that is the whole team, and it has its own brand as well. So it's a win-win. And also think about what are your selfish and unselfish reasons for wanting to do that, wanting to be more visible and boost your brand. So what led to this for me, I used to be painfully shy. I was like a band art nerd in high school, and I wanted to exercise my speaking muscles. So I did Toastmasters. In 2014, when I first joined EO, I did like this EOX talk, which was kind of like our version of a TED talk. And that's when I introduced my simple concept, which is my methodology for life balance, my answer to life balance. And then, of course, I did a lifeline. Well, I'll go through this in detail, but that led to an interview and put me on the front page of the business section 3 times. And I was reluctant to share this information. So this all happened by accident, but looking backwards, I can share this with you so that you can apply it on purpose. In 2018, I was elected EO president. I was on the mic a lot. I was invited to MC Nerve. I was nervous as crap as I got on stage to open up Nerve. So I Googled how to start a speech. And I ended up I followed what it said in that video, ended up getting a 9.5 feedback score. And then in 2019, I met this guy named Connor Neal, and he encouraged me to post daily. And then I realized how I already knew Connor. But more about that in just a minute, because that was a big aha moment for me in my life. But first, let's talk about lifelines, because most of you are probably familiar with the lifeline exercise that we do in EO. If you're not familiar, if you haven't done it yet, you take a chart and you draw a line from your birth to your current age, and then you plot the lowest points in your life and you plot the highest points in your life. And this was my lifeline, and I shared it confidentially in forum training. And of course, everyone kept it confidential. But these were things like, if you look at these low points, like my first memory was my parents getting divorced. And then when I was in college, I got in a lot of trouble. I got arrested twice. I got suspended from college. Couldn't get a job. I ended up taking out the trash at a strip club. I got carjacked. Then later in life, I got a lawsuit that really almost put me in bankruptcy. And I shared this stuff. This was stuff that was very close to the chest. I didn't want anyone to know. I kept it a secret for decades. But I, of course, trust the process in EO, and I shared it in forum training. And afterwards, one of my forum mates came to me and said, "Hey, I want you to talk to this reporter that I know. I think you have a really cool story, and you should just have a conversation." And I was very, very reluctant. I'm like, dude, I don't want anyone to know this stuff. Like, are you crazy? I'm not going to talk to a reporter. But I did so reluctantly, and it ended up getting published, which is super crazy. But so the thing about this lifeline is that nobody cares. Like, most of us only want to talk about the high points in our life, right? That's the stuff you heard in my intro, in my bio. That's why I wanted Michael to read it, because I hate talking about myself. And it feels kind of cringy to just talk about all your highs. But that's usually what we want to do. Like, when you post on social media, that's what you see most people do. And that's why it doesn't resonate. But so you let somebody else talk about your highs, and then you talk about your low, vulnerable moments, because that is what makes you relatable. And I learned that because after talking to that reporter, it got published in the newspaper. I didn't know what he was going to publish, but the headline was "Businessman Had an Epiphany at Gunpoint." And it was on the front page of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution business section. And I was like, oh my God, all my business is just out in the street now. And my phone was blowing up and people were calling me. And it was a very strange time in my life. And then I ended up on the front page of the AJC business section 3 times that year. And I met the reporter. I ran into him a couple of years later. He said, "Do you know that your story was the most shared story out of my whole Secrets of Success column?" And I was like, really? Wow. Like, people really want to know that kind of stuff about me? That just seemed really odd, but it was a big aha moment for me. So when you're tempted to share, the lesson here is start with the vulnerability. And those things that you don't want people to know are probably what will make people more endeared to you than any awards or accolades that you've received. So back to my story. So at Nerve, I was opening up and I Googled how to start a speech, because I didn't know what I was going to say. I was suffering from major imposter syndrome. Like, what am I going to say to 800 EOers in this audience? Who are probably, in my mind, I'm like, oh, they probably have bigger businesses than me. They're better than me. I don't know what I'm going to say. So I Googled how to start a speech, and I met this guy, Connor Neal. And then what I later realized is that, because I said, Connor, you look so familiar to me. And it took a whole week before I realized this is the guy who did the video called How to Start a Speech. And if you look this up, this video has like over 17 million views now. But it was a big aha for me because Connor from across, I mean, he lives in Barcelona. I don't know if you guys know Connor, but if you don't know him, you should know him. He's the EO member, he's an EO leader. He lives in Barcelona, and he took the time to publish his video. He's a professor at a business school out there. And that video from a complete stranger across the ocean changed my life. And that inspired me to share my knowledge on the digital stage because I might help someone else. So that inspired me to pay it forward. And hopefully it'll do the same for you. So some of the unintended benefits from me sharing and just wanting to help others, because I just started this journey of posting daily in 2019. I ended up on the Best Self magazine cover for Over 40 and Fabulous. I launched a fitness program called Six Pack Dads in 2021. I was also invited to interview Gary Vee and co-host GLCX. I became this beauty tour influencer, which was really kind of weird because I'm with all these ladies and I get paid to like go around and get facials and things like that. But that was definitely unexpected. And in 2022, I published a best-selling book, Wealth Beyond Money, having my best years ever in my business in 21 and 22. And then I've been speaking at EO chapters and at GLC, and I'm frequently invited to promote brands, products, and events. But all of these were just unexpected, but it came from me just sharing out of the goodness of my heart and wanted to help people. So what are the elements of a good story? First, you want to be vulnerable. You want to show movement from low to high, what vehicle got you there, and what monster you defeated along the way. Let someone else tell your highs and you tell your lows. And then here are a few storytelling models that I've adapted that you can look up on your own. But one of them is money, movement, sex, and mastery. Those are the 4 elements of any good story. Just have a dollar amount, talk about money in there somewhere, whether it's implied or direct, show movement from here to there, have some type of romantic story in there. In my story, I talk about how my wife and I, we started our business together. We were boyfriend and girlfriend, and here we are 20 years later, still in business, still married. And then mastery of some subject, whatever your craft is. There's also The Hero's Journey by Donald Miller. I'm sure many people are familiar with that, but if not, look up Story Brand. There's the Epiphany Bridge story by Russell Brunson that you can learn about in the book Expert Secrets, which is an excellent book. And then one of my favorites is a book called Save the Cat. And you can actually pick up the book and look at resources at savethecat.com. What they do is they break down pretty much any movie that's out there falls into one of 10 different story models. So we really watch the same movie over and over again. It falls into one of these buckets, and he really breaks down the science behind that. But here's the most basic form of storytelling. You say, I was here, now I'm here, and this is the vehicle that got me there. So in the order is I was here, now I'm here, this is the vehicle that got me there. You can sell anything that way, and even if it's indirect. So quick story, whenever we have a new member join the EO Atlanta chapter, we get connected with them through the one-on-one connections program. And I usually reach out to have coffee or lunch or just a quick Zoom call and get to know the person. Well, I asked this one guy, his name is Marlon Grisby. I always ask the question, well, how did you learn about EO? Like because most people come from some type of warm connection to EO. And he said, well, actually, you're the reason I joined EO. And I was like, what? Like, I didn't know this guy from anyone. And he said, yeah, somebody shared one of your social media posts with me. And he was like, yeah, you should check this guy out. And you were talking about EO and how it changed your life. So I decided to join EO. And my mind was just blown, like, wow. And of course, I don't get paid anything from EO, but that type of selling, whether it's intentional or accidental, it works, and it's a way to be more influential. So getting into the tactics here, like which social media platform should you choose? A lot of people say just pick one and go all in. I say you need to be on all of them, and I'll explain why in just a few minutes. But if you look up the top social media platforms used worldwide, right now, Facebook is still in the lead. By far. And of course, Instagram is second, owned by the same company, Meta. LinkedIn coming in third, YouTube. Now, YouTube is a very special one because they're also a search engine. So you definitely want to have a presence there. And then Twitter, which is now X. And then you have TikTok and Snapchat. Of course, these numbers are always fluctuating, but this is a recent one from this year. And then here's from another source still showing that Facebook is the highest. But this one actually shows YouTube coming in second. And WhatsApp, some people consider that to be a social media platform as well, because it does have some of the features, even though we mainly use it as a communication platform. But all of these owned by Meta, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook, all owned by Meta. So you want to be everywhere because it's always fluctuating and you never know who's going to be the coolest kid on the block. So you might as well just be everywhere. And it's pretty easy to do that with the tools that are out there now. So why do this? Well, attention is the new oil. Probably one of the most famous people for saying this right now is Alex Hormozy, but many other influencers have said this recently. But if you think about it, again, back to the example of the Kardashians and people like that, you can leverage attention into so many other things. I mean, Gary Vee started out talking about wine on YouTube, and now he's grown his marketing company to $100 million empire. So attention is where it's at. And all of you on this call had the opportunity to get attention for your brand. What are the benefits of posting daily? Consistency builds trust. You get exposure to non-followers who could become potential members, potential clients. You can increase member engagement. You can increase your status, your celebrity factor, or your perceived celebrity factor. You can increase event attendance, and this applies to your EO chapters as well. I actually gave this talk at GLC to the marketing chair, so some of this still says member, but it applies to your business as well if you have a membership or a client-based service, and it increases retention. And in organic, now the thing you have to keep in mind is in organic post, when you post something on social media, a lot of us get discouraged because we're like, oh, well, it only got 4 likes or nobody saw this thing. Well, you have to keep in mind the social media platforms are out to make money. So your organic post is only shown to less than 10% of your followers. That same content, if you put it on a different platform, then it could get way more views. I have some videos that I've posted on Instagram that only got, say, 200 views. I'll put the same video on TikTok and it gets 20,000 views. And you just never know. Different algorithms, different type of people, different vibes, different things go viral. But if you just only go in on 1 or 2 platforms, you could be missing out on a huge opportunity for exposure. It also usually takes 20 touch points now before people take action. I think when I was growing up, they said people needed to hear something 7 times or 11 times. Well, that number is at least 20 times now. And being active on social media is a sign of life. If there's no recent activity on your social media accounts, people will start to wonder if you're even still alive or are you even still in business. And you want to compel people to follow you on social media, but that is not the end all be all. You want to get them onto your email list, then you want to be able to retarget them and put them into an email nurture sequence so that you can own that relationship and own that contact information and not be at the whim of the social media platform, because they can decide at any minute to throttle your account, who they want to show it to, not show it to. They could blacklist you. You don't want to be at their mercy. So get your followers and your customers' contact information as soon as you can. And then the mindset these days is, if you didn't post it, did it even happen? So try to share as much as you can about what you're doing in your brand with your company within the storytelling framework that makes sense to boost your brand. And there's no such thing as overexposure. As long as you're posting relevant content. When I talked about those 20 touch points, you got to keep in mind that the first 4 times you see something, you hardly notice it. It's not even on your radar. By the 5th time, you might finally read the thing. 6th through 8th time it appears, it starts to annoy you. By the 9th time, you start to wonder, maybe there's something to this. And then by views 10, 11, 12, maybe you click on the link and look at their website, ask a friend about it. By the 13th time you see it, you decide, well, maybe this product is worth something. Views 14 through 19, you convince yourself to make a purchase or start saving for it. By the 20th time you see it, you're sold. But you don't even realize that you've seen this same ad 20 different times in your life because it's been repeated over and over in different ways. So do this. The reason I share this with you is because a lot of people share something once and think, oh, well, I already shared that, I can't repeat it. But you actually should repeat it over and over and over again. So how do you set up your profile page? Well, what people look for on your profile are these things. Well, one is, are your stories lit up? And your stories in that top bubble in Instagram, where you can share up to 24 hours, which it disappears after 24 hours, but you get a little circle, and I'll show you some examples on the next slide. You get a little circle around your profile picture. That's kind of like your porch light on your house. When your stories are lit up, it shows people that you're active, and they're going to think, well, is your porch light on? What was your most recent post is the next thing they're going to look at. If your most recent post was in January of 2021, they're going to think you're not relevant anymore. What's your ratio of followers to following? And then they're going to read your bio. What kind of stuff are you talking about? What's in it for them in your bio? And then under your profile, you have your story highlights, where you can repurpose some of the stories that you've shared, and you can categorize them. And then they're going to look at the value of your content. One great tip here is to show human faces as much as you can, whether it's your face or other people. Marketing study after marketing study show that we identify with seeing human faces. So don't hide that, or just have mostly text-based or image-based posts, because people want to see people. And then the last thing you want to use is a service called Linktree, linktr.ee, where you can set up a site that has all of your links on it, instead of sending people to the homepage of your website, which could be overwhelming. So here are some good examples. And these are all nonprofit organizations, because I shared this with EO chapters. Since EO is nonprofit, I thought these were relevant. But if you look here, you see the circles where their stories are all lit up. You see their ratio of followers to following is high. Then under here, then there's the bio right here. You want to have that filled out. And then your links are under that. And then these are what are called your story highlights. And maybe you can organize that into your company's core values, or, things that, what are your things that you share on a personal brand level? What is that? Fitness, travel, family, however you want to categorize things into buckets. And then you can go in your story archives and keep your highlights right there. And then if you look at the content that is shared right here, because people look down here and say, okay, well, what are they posting? Is it recent? But in all of these, you see human faces looking at you, and that is engaging. So what do you post? Well, here are some content ideas for your company. You can post how-to educational tips, client success stories, case studies, upcoming events and teasers, event recaps, product launches, testimonial videos, behind the scenes. You can go back and post past events using hashtags like way back Wednesday, throwback Thursday, flashback Friday. These are all trending things that give you an excuse to go and post old stuff on your account and repurpose it. You can post powerful quotes. There are hashtags out there like Motivational Mondays. You can do micro clips from podcast interviews that you've appeared on, or other people. If you have a podcast, you can definitely repurpose a lot of that content. Any speeches you've done, workshops you've done, volunteering and charitable causes, that kind of content goes a long way. And for more ideas, we will use ChatGPT very shortly and dive into that. Now, every communication should do at least one of these. It should educate. So if you think about what's an educational post, if you say in your mind, it should start with how to. So if you post something that teaches someone how to do something, they're more than likely going to be very engaged with it. It should entertain, and it should inspire. And the shortcut for thinking about inspire is from to, like I showed on that earlier slide. The key here is you want to make content that people either want to share and or save. And you see when Instagram looks at engagement, you see these icons under every post, right? The like, the comment, the share, the save. Well, the more people engage with your content, these all kind of give your post weight. And then the more engagement you have, the more Instagram will show it. And I'm saying Instagram, but this applies to all the platforms. But the more the algorithm will show your post, because they're like, oh, people are engaging with this, especially the sooner that you post. So if you get a lot of people commenting and you're commenting back, and there's a conversation under your post, and people are clicking that share button like, oh man, my cousin needs to see this, my girlfriend needs to see this. And then people are saving it to come back to later and have it in their library. And those two have the most weight, share and save, because that shows that it's really valuable content. So here's a format for what you put in the caption under your post. First, you want to have a hook, and usually that's in the form of a question. And I use this for like an EO event as an example. Are you ready to level up your leadership skills and learn from one of the best in the game? And then the content: join us for an evening with Warren Rustin, where he shares his insights and strategies for success. You won't want to miss this EO event. And then always have a call to action. What do you want them to do? Register at the link in our bio, and then you want to have hashtags after that. When you have events and product launches in your business, treat it like a Marvel movie release. I see so many businesses make the mistake of just posting about something one time, but it should actually be a well thought out process that starts months in advance. So if you think about like a big Marvel movie release, they have teasers like 2 months out. You see teaser 1 and then teaser 2. I mean, not 2 months out, but like a year out or 6 months out. And then they have trailers that come out weeks before the movie launch. And then they might show some of the behind the scenes setup. And then once you have your event, your product launch, be posting on your stories throughout the launch or throughout the event. And you also want to have multiple posts during the event. And then after the launch or the event, post event reflections. And then later on down the road, you can post flashbacks to the event. So this is a way to milk a lot of content out of one launch or one event. Some tips for more exposure that the algorithms like are to use trending audio. So even if you're talking or someone else is talking, find a song that has a little up arrow next to it. That means that song is trending, and just put the volume really low and put it in the background, because the algorithm still picks up that it's there, and it's likely to give that post some more exposure. And then make sure you superimpose words on the video too, and use a strong hook there to make people want to actually watch the whole thing. Make sure you share your post to your stories also, so that when people are flipping through stories, they can click on it and watch the whole thing. And then ask other members, and I know they've talked about this on the social media lab in EO, but you can have other people engage on your posts fast. You can form like a community of people, like a support group for social media, and have people engage your posts fast. You can get friends, family to do it, team members. But remember, engagement equals likes, saves, shares, comments, profile visits, and follows. All of those equal engagement points for the algorithm. And when a post performs well, like you can go into your insights. I think I'll go into this later on in this presentation, but you can go into your insights and see which ones have gotten the most views and the most engagement. Consider putting a little bit of money behind it to boost it, like $1 a day or something really small, if you have the budget, to give that post more exposure to people who don't already follow you. And make sure you like and reply to comments quickly. And that's where the 15 minutes a day comes in, because you want to make sure that, I like to do that myself, actually go in and reply to people myself instead of delegating that right now. So how does one get all of this done? Because it still seems a bit overwhelming, right? So we're going to get into the meat of how to execute this. And when I was on stage interviewing Gary Vee at GLC in 2021, I asked him the same question, like, how does somebody, we don't have time to post on social media every day. And he was like, well, that's because you're doing, well, he may have used a curse word, but he said, that's because you're doing other stuff. You're prioritizing other stuff instead of social media. So you got to reprioritize things and make it important. And he has a piece you may want to look up if you haven't seen it. If you just search how to make 64 pieces of content in a day, he goes through a process, and I've implemented some of that, my methodology as well. And also in this presentation. So here's the step-by-step way to actually do it. First, record everything you do. Whether you're on a podcast or speech, whatever you're doing, just make a habit of somehow recording everything you do. And I'll tell you more about that on the next couple of slides. And then you want to store it in a shared content repository. You want to hire someone to repurpose the content and post on all platforms daily for you. Or you can use AI apps that will actually chop up the content, like Video.ai, Munch, or Opus Clip. And you can use ChatGPT to write your caption and content ideas. And then you want to reply to your comments and messages, and then boost posts that perform well. When I say boost, I mean put some paid money behind it and create an ad out of it. So breaking this down step by step, first, you want to capture lots and lots of raw content. Record everything. Carry a tripod, a light, a mic kit with you at all times. And when you get the slides, there's a link here that will take you to the one that I use on Amazon, but it's a case that I keep with me everywhere. Or you can have cameras everywhere. You know, there's a high-end way to do things and a low-end way to do things. You can have a team of people following you around, recording you if you have that type of budget. But you should definitely record all Zoom calls you're on, all interviews, podcast appearances, etc. So you can repurpose this stuff, just like I'm doing now with this recording. And then you want to have a shared content repository somewhere. Later is an app that I'll explain later. Trello, Drive, Google Drive. You can actually use your Instagram stories. This is a cool hack that I've started using lately. Use your Instagram stories as a repository for content, for short form content. And then I have my social media guy go in and actually to the stories archives and share that out as posts. He'll create posts out of it. So that gives me a 2-for-1 because I'm being active on my stories and I'm adding to my content repository. And then you want to have somebody keep it organized for you. And Fiverr.com is just a great resource to find all this stuff really, really cheap. So this is the actual kit that I use, that I carry around with me. I actually got this as a gift from EO for being an influencer for GLC one year. So it's an invaluable gift, but get this, it all comes in a small case. I keep it in my backpack and it's with me everywhere I go. But that way you can easily just set up your iPhone and get good lighting, good audio quality wherever you go, whatever you're doing. And I mean, you never know when you might say something valuable to other people, and don't overthink it. A lot of times, again, we get in our own heads and we think that what we're saying, everyone already knows, but they don't. I mean, you guys are in EO, you've done a lot of things, and you have a lot of benefit you can share with the world. So Trello, this is what I use. So I set up a Trello board, which is Kanban style. And whenever I have new content, I just dump it in this first videos, what do they call it, list here. And then my social media guy will grab it and he'll move it over to ready to post, edited, and then it's posted. So it's kind of an ongoing process that we have. But all I do is just dump it in here and I let him take care of the rest. So what does he do? Well, he chops up the content, first of all. And I'm sure he uses an AI app, but video.ai, vidyo.ai is my favorite one that I've played around with. You can hire someone on Fiverr to do this as well. Some other competitors are Munch and Opus Clip, which you can find at opus.pro. But you literally just put in a YouTube link and AI will go in there and break it up into clips for you. It will title each one of those clips, is analyzing the words to know what's a good starting point, ending point, which is a good, what's a good chunk of information that's likely to go viral. And it will even auto-generate captions for you using AIs. It'll do an AI description for you. It does this in like 2 minutes with any YouTube link. It is a phenomenal tool. Then you want to write the captions. You can use ChatGPT Plus. Make sure you're using version 4 with the plugins. Go ahead and pay the $20 a month for ChatGPT Plus. It is the best money that I've ever spent. Or you can do video.ai Pro to generate the captions like I was just showing you on the last slide. And there's also Jasper.ai that is really good with creating text. So getting into the prompt here. So with ChatGPT Plus, you get access to plugins. You want to activate these plugins: Website Chat, Web Pilot, and Keymate.ai search. And then use this exact prompt. I'll get when you connect with me after this, I'll give you this exact prompt that you can just copy and paste into your ChatGPT. But what it's doing is taking everything that I've taught you in this presentation and training ChatGPT to do it. So I'm telling ChatGPT, I'm going to give you a website URL. I want you to use the plugin to read the contents of the website so that you understand the business. Then I want you to act as an expert social media content creator for the business that you just learned about. You are extremely skilled at writing compelling copy that inspires people to take action. The content that you create should be educational, inspiring, using from-to stories, and or use the pain, agitate, solution framework. And every piece of content you make is something that viewers will want to share and or save. So you guys see what I did there? Everything that I just taught you, I'm now training ChatGPT to basically be my employee, my social media expert. And then here's the output I want. In table format, I want you to list the following: 25 content ideas for the business's Instagram account, 25 viral TikTok ideas for the business, and subject lines for a 25 email nurture campaign. Do you understand? Every word in here is carefully thought out so to get the results that I want. And what we're going to do for fun in just a few minutes, take one of you lucky guys and you'll give me your website address. And you know what? Actually, let's see. The first person to put their website address in the chat, then we're going to use this and do a deep dive on your business and generate this stuff for you in ChatGPT Live. And then after you do that, you can do follow-up prompts. You say, okay, now write 3 different emails to promote this particular product. Include subject lines that evoke curiosity, and the body of each email should be around 200 words. Write 3 Facebook posts. Now, imagine you've already attended an event, the event that we had. Write a LinkedIn post about your top 3 takeaways. ChatGPT will use this imagination and actually write the takeaways, and then you can decide whether you like them or not, or whether you agree with them. And usually they're pretty good. Step 4 is you want to schedule the post. So I use later.com. There are some competitors out there like Hootsuite, Sprout Social, Zoho Social, and Loomly, but I prefer Later. Now, one warning here, you can have these apps automatically post to your account. Like you can just have them all scheduled in there in a calendar and then have it auto post, but that could result in limited post visibility. The social media platforms actually want you to be the one doing it yourself and being engaged and sucking. They want to suck your time away on the platforms. So they don't really like the third-party apps coming in, and they'll kind of throttle your posts. So keep that in mind and keep an eye on the traffic that you're getting, and maybe experiment with posting natively versus posting through a third-party app. Posting natively, of course, takes more time, but it could mean a difference of thousands of views. So here's a screenshot of my later.com. You can see over here, there's a content library where all of the video clips are stored. And then there's a calendar where we can just plot out. My social media guy just goes in here and plots out what date and time he wants each post to appear. And then you can have all the social media networks up here: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, even Pinterest, TikTok, and it'll just auto post to all of them for you once it's laid out on the calendar. And it'll help write your captions for you in Later as well using AI. Then you want to make sure that you reply to comments and direct messages. This is where I personally spend my 15 minutes when I say this can take you up to 15 minutes. And the reason you want to do this quickly is because it boosts the visibility of a post when you engage with comments. It boosts endearments when people answer quickly. And it's rude to leave people on read. I'm not some super celebrity or anything by any means, so I do have time to jump in and do it if I'm waiting in line somewhere or something. And then you want to try to collect email address, get people off of the social media account, have some type of giveaway or lead magnet so that you can capture their email address. And then you want to boost high performing posts. Now, I'll walk through this really quickly, but you go into your insights. You need to have a professional or business account to do this. You click on see all, and then you can look at the content you shared, and then it'll rank it by how many views each post has received. And then you take your top one, because obviously that's gotten a lot of views and engagement, and then you actually can click boost and then put a little money behind it. So how do we get all this done? Think about who, not how. Here you can go on Fiverr.com and find a ton of people that will repurpose and edit your long form content. A quick hack for Fiverr is post your own request on Fiverr instead of just searching through the available jobs. I've gotten a lot of better results that way. Here's like the exact job description that I've posted. I'm looking for strategy, creation, and editing of short form videos, from podcast clips, audio clips, camera facing videos. Dane, who's my social media guy, he will post 1 video per day, including captions, for a period of 30 days on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Reels, YouTube Shorts. And it's just expected to be about $500 a month, more or less. That's for a US person. You can probably find it offshore for cheaper, but either way, that's a really good deal because people have, learned to use these AI tools and maximize their time. So $500 a month is really money well spent to be posting, to have a presence every single day on every platform. I recommend you try people out for a 30-day period to give them time to warm up and see how you like them if you want to continue engaging with them from month to month. So now at this time, we will take any questions from the audience, and I'll see who put their URL in the chat, and we'll do some chat GPT stuff. First, any questions? All right. Well, you can open up your mic at any time if you have it. This isn't anything formal. But since we don't at this time, we're going to jump over to ChatGPT. And let me change my screen here.
Ethan, I have a question. This is Katie from EO Philadelphia. So I'm sure everyone here is just sitting here excited, but very overwhelmed. So what would you say is the first to dive into something like this what's the first step someone should take so that they are thoughtful in executing and actually having success and not getting overwhelmed and then just cutting it and not doing anything?
The first step you should take is actually what we're about to do right now.
Okay.
If you don't yet have ChatGPT, go to chat.openai.com. I didn't go into the basics of how to do that because I just kind of assume everybody knows how to do it. But if you don't, just go to this website. It's free to get set up with it, but they do have a paid version that's $20 a month. The paid version allows you to enable plugins, which you see at the top of the screen here, because if you don't have the plugins, the free version of ChatGPT, the information is limited to like 2021. So you won't be able to do what I'm about to show you unless you have the paid version. So do that and play around with ChatGPT and then start with this prompt. And this is the same prompt that I just showed you guys. I'm going to give you a website URL. I went through this, said, do you understand? ChatGPT says, yes, I understand. Please provide the website URL, and I'll start by reading its contents to get a comprehensive understanding of the business. So I am going to take Ryan's website. Okay, there we go. neomindlabs.com. And let's see. Oh, I did this with somebody else before. Okay, so it's thinking now. Actually, let me do it fresh because I was playing around with somebody else's yesterday, somebody else in your chapter.
Hey, Ethan, it's Laura from Mobile Outfitters. Quick question while you're posting that. Is ChatGPT the only one that you like, or does any other platform like Bard from Google do this as well?
They are all, I don't use those as much. I've toyed around with them, but I really like the output from ChatGPT and the ability to train it. I am sure that that will change. I mean, this is just the beginning, right? This is like the beginning of the internet. So ChatGPT may not even be relevant a year from now. Who knows? But what I like about it is that, it stores your different chats over here. So each one of these is like a little personality that I can always jump back in the conversation with this person about this thing. So but yeah, to answer your question, there are lots of competitors out there. But right now, I still think ChatGPT is the best as of today.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, so here we go. NeoMind Lab. So it's thinking, it's using the website chat plugin, and it's reading the NeoMind Lab's website. It's doing it again. It's like a cooking show, right? All right, here we go. And Ryan, feel free to unmute and tell me if this sounds good or if it's totally off. NeoMind Labs is a technology partner specializing in providing long-term maintenance and support for Ruby on Rails and Elixir applications. All right.
Perfect.
All right. So you see, here are your Instagram content ideas, and it's putting it in table format for you. From outdated software to cutting-edge applications, journey with NeoMind Labs. 20 years of brainstorming software landscapes. Here's to 20 more. Oh, congrats on 20 years in business. Our secret to long-term software maintenance revealed. Here are your viral TikTok ideas. Watch how we turn this outdated app into a modern masterpiece in 60 seconds. Quick tips to maintain your Ruby on Rails application. And you see how fast this is happening. This is just revolutionary. I mean, how much you would have had to pay a year ago to get someone to do this for you is insane compared to just being able to get this for $20 a month now. Let's see. Here are your email nurture subject campaigns. Welcome to NeoMind Labs, your software engine's home. Why stewardship is the future of software maintenance. So does this sound like something that would be valuable or useful to you, Ryan?
Oh yeah, I'm giving these to my marketing people. These are great.
Yeah. And then so notice that I asked for 25 and it stopped at 5. So when that happens, you can just hit, you can just tell it to continue and it'll keep going. You can also ask it other questions. So here it is with number 6 and so forth. But you can now with this instance of ChatGPT, it is now trained. It is your social media expert. You can ask it any content that you want. You can say, hey, well, what do you think of this? You could say, hey, generate a video script. We want to sell this new product or this new service. Can you write a 60-second script for me that's likely to go viral on TikTok? And it'll do it. It'll give you the whole script. It'll tell you where to stand and what the background should look like. It is mind-blowing. You can use it as a sales training expert. You can put your sales methodology in there and say, hey, generate a sales script for when a client has this particular objection, and it'll do it for you. So think of it, like I think of ChatGPT as like another team member that is, I always have the tab open in my browser so I can always just go talk to this team member. This team member is like an expert that just happens to have the whole knowledge of humanity up until now. So, I mean, how awesome is that? Who's Ashley says, I use ChatGPT every day and I did not know this feature. Thank you, Ethan. Awesome. Awesome. Glad I could show you something.
Thank you.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, any other questions? Anybody else want me to throw their website in here? We have a few more minutes.
Did you design that prompt, or is this something that people, like a group, collaboratively designed and shared? Like, do you have like a library of prompts that you use?
No, I actually designed this particular prompt. Just based on my experience and everything that led up to this moment that I shared with you in my presentation, I use that to carefully craft this prompt. Now, there is a plugin that you can get for ChatGPT that has a bunch of pre-made prompts, and that is called AI PRM. Let me go. It's a Google Chrome plugin or extension. Let me see if I can find it for you guys, because I turned it off right now because it can be a little overwhelming. But it's called AI PRM for ChatGPT. And let's see if I turn it on, and then how do I go back? How do I get out of here now? ChatGPT, and then I refresh ChatGPT.
And what are the plugins you're using again?
For that particular prompt, I was using Website Chat, Web Pilot, and Keymate.ai search.
Thank you.
Now you can turn on up to 3 plugins per prompt session, and it'll decide which is the best one to use. And I think it used Website Chat for that particular output that you just saw. So this is AI PRM, which is just pre-made prompts that you can just choose from that other people have designed. And again, I mean, you can find a prompt for anything here. You write a complete book in one click. I mean, it's crazy, right? And so you can put in different variables. It's a lot to dive into here. And I like so here we have a YouTube script creator. I like the simplicity of how ChatGPT looks without this. So I keep it turned off, but it is a good resource to kind of look through and learn about prompting.
For that prompt that you did, that you were showing us, did you say that you only turned on Website Chat, or did you turn on the 2 others that you showed?
I've turned on 3 of them. I have them all on. So if you see, I have Website Chat on, and I have Web Pilot and Keymate.ai, because all 3 of those search the active web today. But I let ChatGPT determine which one it would use, and it used Website Chat for this particular one.
Cool.
So yeah, and it tells you which one it uses. So if you look here, it says used Website Chat right here, and it'll show you that. Let's see. Any other questions in the chat here? Marsha, how do you know about all the plugins that are out there? I have a thirst for learning. I'm always watching new advanced AI stuff and just picking up things. And there's a lot. I mean, you could drink from a fire hose, right? So I wanted this particular presentation to be focused on social media marketing and give you an actionable way to do it, instead of just throwing like 100 different AI apps at you. I think that there are like 11,000 AI apps out there. People are creating, you can create your own apps pretty easily. So people are creating things every single day. Yeah, Marsha, there are a ton of them. Let's see. Do you find that Instagram boost is better than doing a paid campaign through Facebook Biz Manager? It can be. So a boost is really just another form of an ad. And a boost will just show your post to more people, not just strangers that aren't following you. That's important, of course, but it'll actually show your post to more of your followers, because if you don't pay to play, they're only going to show it organically to a few number of people. So I like it because it just appears naturally in the news feed, and it probably won't feel like an ad. If you did it as a post first, like as a natural post, it won't feel as ad-like. So I've found that boost work better for me and in my business. But sometimes doing an ad or a paid campaign through Facebook Business Manager will work better. It really depends on the actual content or the product or service that you're trying to promote. All right. I'm going to make sure I didn't miss any questions here. And if you guys have any more, feel free to just talk or throw them in the chat. What about LinkedIn? What do you recommend for boosting? I'm not as well versed on LinkedIn. My businesses are more B2C, and LinkedIn seems to be more conducive for like B2B relationships. I would imagine it's the same type of process, but I'm not even going to try to tackle that because I'm not a LinkedIn expert. Me personally, LinkedIn is probably my weakest social media platform as far as the engagement level that I get. But I think it's because my content is just more naturally direct to consumer. All right, let's see. Cool, you are welcome. All right, well, no other questions. We got about 5 more minutes. We can play around with some more. The cool thing about this is now you can edit a post. Edit a chat and throw a new website in there. And now it'll think on this website. I don't know if I have to have the HTTPS in there. Oh, no, it's doing it. Okay, so this is Laura Lane's website. Is that Moutfitters? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, we call it M Outfitters, but yes, Moutfitters is right too. It's short for Mobile Outfitters.
Gotcha. Okay. So this is cool. I get to learn about you guys' businesses. All right. Based on the content, it appears that Mobile Outfitter specializes in mobile phone protection and personalization.
Right. Accurate.
Clear coat for scratch protection, Fusion for impact protection, Style Skins for personalization. All right. Before and after photos, customer testimonials, behind the scenes look, showcase different Style Skins designs. Highlight the team. Love it. TikTok viral ideas, a time lapse of the installation process, a day at a Mobile Outfitters location. Does this sound like it'd be helpful to you?
Yeah, and a lot of them are what we're doing, which is really exciting to see.
Fantastic.
But yeah, it's spot on.
Great. All right. Well, let me wrap here, and I'm gonna tell you guys how to get the slides and connect with me. Just get my screen back to where it should be. Oh, and also there are some new social media apps that are coming out that are out now. And the reason I share this is because you never know what'll take off. There's one called Lemon 8. So go and check that out. It's kind of like a Pinterest style social media platform. And then there's Clapper, that is very much like a TikTok clone, but it is designed for our generation, or like Generation Xers and older. So you never know what'll take off. And it's good to have a presence there, because it's like real estate. I mean, there's hardly anybody on that land, and you have the opportunity to take off if your brand has a presence. Then Instagram also launched a new social media app that is pretty much a Twitter clone it's called Threads, and it ties into your Instagram account. So make sure you have a presence there as well. It started out with super high engagement. I think they broke a record with the number of signups that they had. And now engagement has kind of dropped off a little bit, but people are still there. So it's something to look at. And if you want to connect with me, you can scan that QR code, get all my contact information. Feel free to shoot me an email, shoot me a DM. If you want the slides, happy to send them to you as well. And yeah, that's it. I'm an EO member just like you guys, so feel free to reach out about anything.
Thank you so much, Ethan. This is Katie again. If you can send Betsy the slides, we'll send them out to everyone on the call, which I know would be really, really helpful. So thank you so much. This was awesome.
All right, my pleasure. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ethan. We appreciate it.